Welcome to the very first episode of Keep Talking, a podcast by the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia. I'm your host, Sam Madore. Keep Talking is all about having honest conversations around mental health, lived experience, and hope. To launch this series, we are honored to be joined by Caitlin Morrison, who is carrying forward her brother Matthew's legacy through Matthew Perry House in Ottawa. Later in the episode, we'll continue the conversation with Foundation's president and CEO, Starr Cunningham. I'm so glad you're here. Let's keep talking. Please be advised, this conversation may contain discussion of suicide. I am here with Caitlin Morrison. Hi, Caitlin.
Hello, Sam. It's so good to see you.
It's good to be here with you. I'm so grateful to be able to have this chat with you. And Caitlin, I'd like for you to just give us a little bit of background on why it is that you are speaking at a Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia event.
First of all, I think that the work that the foundation does is very, very important for the people of Nova Scotia. And I believe that every Canadian, but also everyone around the world deserves to have access to mental health care, mental health support, to have other people acknowledge that their mental health matters. It's a very important thing. And so I believe in the work. And then also I love to talk about just the real things that we go through every day. At first, I thought it was going to be a really hard thing to do. Yeah. But now I realize that it's actually incredibly cathartic for the person who's talking, the person who's listening.
Those little nuggets that people can connect to.
The things that you're like, your brain is screaming at you, oh my God, this is such a big deal. And then you finally are like, oh, I have to say it out loud. And you say it out loud and you go, oh, it was just a little poof of something. It wasn't even anything at all.
You are the executive director of Matthew Perry House.
I am.
And talk a bit about the story of getting to Matthew Perry House.
In addition to the executive director of Matthew Perry House is Matthew Perry's sister. So there was no nepotism whatsoever involved in my being appointed to the position.
How ironic.
Right? Isn't that weird? Just by chance.
Yeah.
People go through a lot of things, I think, and I'm not unique in this. There are a lot of feelings involved in losing somebody you love, but one of those feelings, and this is the thing I'm saying, like, especially not unique. One of those feelings is that I think as humans we need to find meaning and purpose in the horrible thing. Yeah. We need to give it some kind of happy. Yeah. Because otherwise there's never any meaning to it, and it kind of challenges your ability to look at the world and think of it as an okay place. And so that's sort of the feeling that I had. It's a feeling that my mom and dad shared. It's a feeling that the friends of Matthew's shared, and it's just, a lot of people had the same feeling. And so I think a little bit of sort of the selfish need to actually appease that compulsion, that feeling, we decided to do something, and we didn't quite know what it was going to be. Right. We knew that we wanted to help in the area of addiction. We knew we wanted to work in Canada. We knew we wanted to use Matthew's name because it was about supporting people who, were like him. Yeah.
People that he supported.
People that he supported and people that he would want to continue to support. And so we had to sort of figure out what the lay of the land was in terms of what was going on in Canada. And what we discovered is that whereas there are a lot of things that could be better when it comes to looking for treatment or getting help for a loved one or that sort of thing, there's one thing that just about everybody agrees on, and that thing is that treatment doesn't exist for long enough. There's not enough care. You can get a month, you can get 3 months, 6 months, maybe if you're lucky. But we would talk to scientists, and the scientists would say, well, I mean, that's all very well and good, but it actually takes 2.5 to 3 years for your brain to be able to feel happiness without the drug again. So you're being sent back out into the world.
With a bit of false hope.
With
maybe.
a bit of false hope.
Yeah.
And like all your problems are back out there that you've been isolated from for a while, and your brain won't let you feel happy. And the only thing that it will let it feel happy is that thing that you used to take. So because there's a very high relapse rate, and that explains it. So that's what we decided to do. And we kept telling people that that's what we wanted to do, and people were very excited because a lot of organizations know that that's something that's needed. And the more we talk to other organizations, the more we talk to people who know what they're doing, the more they said, we want to do this too. And so it became kind of a pulling together all the resources we could that were already there in terms of the work that people were doing.
Nice.
And we've turned it into a project called Matthew Perry House, which will be a long-term, multi-year recovery center with peer governance and trauma therapy and mental health support and health support and career training and family therapy and all kinds of things built right into it.
That is amazing. And so when you say that, it would be that sort of 2 to 3 year period, or I'm assuming that will depend on the person?
The absolute rule of the one guaranteed rule about the time of how long people stay there is that at no point will anyone ever be asked to walk out the door before they say, I am ready to go out the door.
Amazing. Wow. That is so great. And how does that feel? I mean, obviously you mentioned being Matthew's sister. How does that feel to be able to offer that to people who he would have wanted to support in this way?
I don't know if there's a word that exists. It feels fantabulous. I don't think there's a There are a few things that I feel about it. One thing is that I'm incredibly grateful because it took a lot of very hardworking, very passionate, very committed organizations coming together and being willing to come together to do this work. It took very smart people being willing to to make things into kindergartner language for me when it comes to neuroscience and that sort of thing. And it took, communities saying this, we want this, we need this, we want this for our family. So I'm very grateful about that. But that feeling, I think probably at least 90% of the people listening understand what I mean when I say it doesn't really feel like something I should be able to do. It's like that imposter syndrome feeling, but on a really big scale.
Wow.
It's like I'm so excited and I'm so proud and I'm so happy to know that in Matthew's name we're going to be able to do something that really helps people, that might change the game for people in their lives.
Yeah.
But how on this freaking earth is that even possible? Like, it's not possible. It's a dream. Like, I'm having a dream, right? And at some point I'm going to wake up. That's how I feel about it.
Oh, that's a really good answer. For me, you're talking about peer support and all of that. And what was the importance of maintaining or incorporating that into Matthew Perry House? Like, knowing that is where a lot of folks find their strength and how they can lead to recovery is through peer support. So why was that important for you guys? So
there are a couple of different answers to that. And they're all true, but there are a couple of different ones. Mm-hmm. One is, everything we do, we think about Matthew, we think about him all the time. And one of the things he used to say was, or used to talks about in his book, is you don't want to be alone in this.
Yeah.
You need to have people around you, and you need to have people who understand what it is you're going through. And the other menu part is that I personally will get calls, people I've never met before. Mm-hmm. And in those calls, they'll say, I never realized that anyone felt the way that I feel until I read his book or until I watched this interview he did. And now I feel like I can ask for help and I can get the help that I need because I saw that. So that to me is,
yeah.
So that's a big one in terms of, giving people that kind of somebody who they can identify with, and it makes it okay for them to look for what they're getting. But the other piece is a little bit more based in, what people who are living with an active addiction feel like. And when you are living with an active addiction, and I bring this from hundreds and hundreds of conversations, so I apologize if it's only anecdotal, but it's a lot of anecdotes.
Right.
You desperately know that you want to and need to stop being so beholden to this thing.
Yes.
You don't necessarily want to stop the thing, but you don't want it to enslave you the way that it enslaves you. And yet, even though everything about every day is like, I gotta get out of this thing. I gotta get myself out of this thing. I gotta have the power. Again and again, it's a defeating disease. It defeats your ability, even though you want to do the thing that you want to do. And the idea behind having peer governance built into the model, so it's peer support, so it's working with others who are in it, who've been through it, different stages of their journey, but it's also peer governance, meaning like the house rules are decided by the people who live there.
Oh, that's great.
And the reason for that is the first day you walk in the door, a lot of stuff is still going to be broken in your life. But there is one thing that we can give you right away that gives you a little bit of that feeling of power back, a little bit of that like autonomy. I do have some control over what happens to me.
Because I think that would be a big deal to walk into this space and feel like you were losing control, right? Or not having control over certain aspects of your life. So to be able to have a say in some of those rules or things that you're, in your day-to-day would be a huge deal.
And to have your opinion about those things matter to other people too.
Yeah. And you mentioned about, the person who has the addiction feeling that if I could just get through this, if I could just, kind of make that step, or why am I beholden to this? What is it like on the other end as the loved one? That's such a hard role to be in when you literally have no control.
That's another thing about that addiction thing, right? And I don't think it's just addiction. I think, name a disease of the body or the mind, and it doesn't just touch the person it's touching. It touches everyone around.
100%.
Again, there's nothing unique about my experience. There's really nothing you can do. It is a bit of a helpless situation. You have to learn to, so the things that I now say to people that I kind of learned were a little bit of control that you can maintain. One is figuring out a way to maintain your own personal mental health in the middle of somebody who you love having a mental health crisis of some kind.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different ways to do that. You can go to therapy, you can talk to people, you can get your own peer support, you can get really into exercising, you can meditate. There are all kinds of things that can be done, and usually doing a lot of them together is a really good idea. We hesitate when we're in that position. We hesitate to do that because we feel like if we're not placing all our attention where the crisis is, we're doing the wrong thing. We need to serve the crisis. But we can't serve the crisis well because we don't actually know at what time of day or what day the person in that crisis is finally going to go, oh, right now is the time where you can be helpful.
Right.
Because you have to wait for that moment.
You're just waiting.
Actually.
Yeah.
And if you keep yourself in some sort of mental health wellness, the benefit of that for them is that when it doesn't matter what time of day, it doesn't matter what day, when that moment happens, you are able to say, yes, I'm here and I love you and I'll help you. And the rest of the time, here are the things you need wellness from. You will love that person. You will hate that person. You will think you want to shake them and tell them that they're a maniac. You want to throw them in the back of a car with chains on and drive them out in the wilderness and put them in a cabin and be like, you're staying here until I tell you you can leave and you're going to get better. And you feel hopeless and you feel sad, and then you feel like maybe it's not that big a deal, and then you think, oh my God, I feel so guilty for thinking maybe it wasn't that big a deal. And then you feel frustrated, you feel guilty for being frustrated, angry again and guilty for being angry again. And you just want what's best for them, but also you just get so frustrated with them. And imagine if somebody came to you when you were in that worst place, that like guilt on top of frustration, on top of anger, on top of hopelessness, on top of helplessness, and you hadn't learned to manage any of that in your own life,
right,
or address it or treat it. And they said, hey, I need help. I'm sorry, F you.
Yeah.
All I feel right now are horrible things.
Yeah.
And suddenly you need help and you expect me to be there. But it's like, no, that is how you help. You love them. You find a place to be okay in your own world. And you know that with all that the love you have and all that healthiness that you have in your own world that you force yourself to maintain, that you are able at that moment to say, great, let's go.
How do you do that? How do you maintain your own wellness within that?
That is a really good question. And I think that the answer is going to be a little bit different for everybody. But much like when it comes to getting support, if you're the person living in the thing, I think the most important thing is always having someone to talk to and never trying to keep any of that inside.
Right.
The things that I was saying about some of the ways that you feel, that can feel a little bit shameful. That there's stigma in that too. Mm-hmm. You know,
my gosh, yes.
Somebody watches someone that is suffering, and then they see somebody who's supposed to love them and care for them, and that person goes, oh, I'm so freaking pissed. I just really hate them. Like, I really just hate them. I've talked to parents who are like,
oh yeah,
sometimes I feel like it would be easier if they just died. And they don't mean it, but that's a thing. And if that festers in their mind, it can take them right out.
Yeah.
Like just the fact that they thought that.
The
for
guilt
a minute,
of that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But if you talk to other people who have been there, who are there right now, just knowing that that's a normal thing to think for a second. And it doesn't mean there's anything bad with you. You're probably not going to think it 5 seconds from now.
Right.
But always having somebody there that you can talk to. So there are a bunch of different support groups. That's one thing you can do. And you can just, I went to a couple of the, like, Al-Anon and things like that.
Oh,
and
okay.
I didn't love it. It wasn't for me. I didn't like their rigidity of it. But I met a couple of people there, and I kept in contact with them. They also didn't like the rigidity of it. So our first conversations were basically bashing the thing we had gone to that helped a lot of people.
Connected you.
It connected us. But then we were there, and then we realized we were telling each other these things that we had been keeping secret. Things like, I just want to never call that person again. I just want to pretend they don't exist and move on with my life. It would be so much easier. And when we were not saying that out loud, it was like, I'm a horrible human being. But as soon as we said it out loud, it was, oh, I see. That's a thing, that it's okay.
Yes.
That's not always the thing you feel.
Instead of holding it in, you're putting it out into the world. It's not as bad as you thought it was.
So same idea. Same idea. You always want to have somebody there for you. And then everybody's different, but you find something that just makes you feel happy.
Mm-hmm. What is that for you?
It used to be a few different things. So it used to be mostly meditation, yoga, and sort of a lot of internal thinking and weird, embarrassing chanting and stuff like that. That used to be my thing. But my thing has changed now because I live on a small acreage, but I have a little bit of land that I live on. And most of it is just trees. Most of it is just forested. And in addition to that, I live far enough away from cities that their yoga studios are not available.
Right.
And I am not the kind of person who can be like, oh, I'm just going to get on
Do
my
it
mat
at
and do my
home.
own thing.
Yeah.
No, I need somebody watching me who can...
I'm the same way. Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to do it if nobody's there to make sure I'm doing it.
Yeah. Or you just lay in Shavasana for the whole time.
Right?
Which is okay too.
That is fine. But I could do that. I could still do that.
There you go.
So my thing that I do now is I go into the forest with one of those pole saws, one of those little pole chainsaw things, an electric one.
Oh my gosh.
And I take out the invasive species trees, the ones that shouldn't be there, that harm the other trees in the forest. And I chop them down, and I drag them out of the forest, and I bring them over to this safe burning fire pit that we have. And then I do it again and again and again. It is so relieving.
Oh, I love this.
Like you're tending to the earth, and it's
physical.
It's physical, and you feel strong and mighty and powerful.
I love that. And like, to your point, it will be different for everyone, but oftentimes it involves being outside, finding some way to move your body.
Most of the time when Manu and I would hang out with each other, we just talked about,
Manu is Matthew, just for
Manu is Matthew. Most of the time when we would hang out with each other, it was silly. It was fun. We talked about like life stuff, but we just had fun.
Yeah.
But every once in a while we get in a really, really deep conversation. We had maybe 2 or 3 times a year, really, really deep conversation. And one of those was we were sitting on the deck of one of his many houses that he had over the course of his life, and looking out at the stars. And we were talking about how it doesn't matter how horrible you feel or how big something feels in your own world. You look up there, and it's like that little dot up there, that's a galaxy with millions of stars in it, billions of stars in it. That's a whole galaxy. And I'm sitting here on like this little tiny piece of dust on around this random little star. It's not even that big a star. And I'm complaining because I had a really bad day, and then there was traffic on my way home from work. You can't, nature gives you this beauty and this bigness that cannot be touched by human problems. And so
perspective.
That's
perspective. I love that.
And it's like the ultimate comforter, right? It's like that's where everything comes from. That's where all the things we live on comes from.
I love that. You did mention Dateline, and I have to say, your dad is one of my favorite humans, and I've never met him, Keith Morrison.
He's also one of my favorite humans.
You have a better reason to say that than me watching him on Dateline.
Yeah, but I could, a lot of people, they say their dad, and they're like, ugh, yeah, my dad. But no, he's actually really, like, A+ lucked out on dads. Oh. He is a good human being and a wonderful guy.
And obviously your mom, your dad, are supportive of Matthew Perry House, are very much behind all of the things that you're doing. What are those pearls of wisdom that you hear from them as maybe you're having days where you're feeling like an imposter, or you're feeling like you're struggling with what it is that you're doing or the heaviness of it? What are those pearls of wisdom that you might get from them?
That happens a little bit, that I feel that way. It happens just occasionally, just once in a while it happens that I feel that way.
Yes.
The other day I called my dad because I was like over with 7 different things that happened all at once, and it was like a confluence of crises, and I was like, I don't like it. I don't want to do it. It's too hard. It's too much. Get me out of it. They're also on the board of directors, so that's a fun conversation to have with your father and a board member at the same time.
Right,
and a little bit
fair.
Weird. But anyway, I'm sort of like crying, and he just went, look, this is a really good thing. This is a really good thing to be doing. And really good things are happening. And if it's hard, you can just take a beat. Like you don't need to work yourself into the ground. The good things keep happening. You just take it easy. Take it easy. Don't push so hard. But for them, for my mom, it's really important for her to be able to connect with other moms.
Yes.
And to be able to have conversations with them, and to be, to share what she's been through, to be that person, that peer support person for them. And I think eventually she wants to figure out more about other ways that she can be supportive to moms specifically.
Oh, that's amazing. And that's what we're talking about, is how important it is to, if you hadn't called your dad or reached out or shown that vulnerability, you wouldn't have gotten that, that reminder to take a breath, take a beat.
That stuff has to come out. And it's really good to have solid human beings around you, if you can find them, who will not judge you if you are a blubbery mess and you are alternating between yelling and crying on a call, and they'll still just say, it's all right. Like, I know it sucks, but it's all right, and you're all right, and it's going to be fine.
I absolutely love that, and that is the perfect place to end on. Thank you so very much for doing this. We really appreciate it. We are continuing the conversation, and I've pulled in Starr Cunningham, President and CEO of the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia, to chat further about our amazing conversation we just had with Caitlin Morrison. Hey, Starr.
Hey, Sam. It's great to be here.
So further to the conversation, we also hosted our Let's Keep Talking event, which Caitlin was the keynote speaker. She did an amazing job. Just maybe give us a bit of a background on Let's Keep Talking, and then we can dig into a little bit more about Caitlin's role in it this year.
Sure. So Let's Keep Talking is a fantastic event for many reasons, mostly because it brings people together to have a conversation that perhaps wouldn't happen otherwise. It's a free event, so it's open and accessible to all. And during the event, we celebrate the achievements and accomplishments of 5 outstanding Nova Scotians who live with mental illness or struggle with addictions or support those who do. And our keynote speaker is always key to setting the tone for the event and really invigorating people and igniting a passion in people. And we've had speakers such as Clara Hughes, Margaret Trudeau, Michael Landsberg, Stephen Page, Romeo Dallaire. I could go on. And Caitlin just really brought a whole new perspective to the stage.
Yeah.
Because of her connection to her late brother, Matthew, and just speaking so openly and honestly about how addiction has impacted her life.
And I think too, for me, and I've only been to a couple of these events, I did go to Michael Landsberg, who was one of the first, correct? Years ago. And then, of course, I was at Clara Hughes last year and Caitlin this year. Caitlin just feels like a friend that you've known for a long time. And I felt that when we had our interview too.
I felt that from the moment I met her. She just has a way about her that's so welcoming and genuine. And I think it comes from her living in a place of vulnerability.
Yeah.
She is who she is. What you see is what you get with Caitlin.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think that's why in that room for Let's Keep Talking, so many people connected to her story and her approach because she just felt like she was a buddy. Well, one of your favorite photos, do you want to talk about one of your favorite photos from the night?
When she was laying on the floor, on her side, on the dirty floor of the school, on top of a giant dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so great. We had St. John Ambulance was there with their service dogs.
Therapy dogs.
Therapy dogs. And why can't I remember his name? Franklin.
Yes.
Was it?
Yep, it was Franklin. Good for you.
And you know how much dogs just make us, so many of us, feel comfortable and really do help us with our mental health. It was so great to see Caitlin taking advantage of having Franklin there and just having a snuggle before her keynote.
Yeah, and he was a giant dog. He was a Newfoundland dog. Like, I think he weighed almost 200 pounds or something.
Yeah.
So when she just dropped to her knees and then went right down onto her side, it was like, there she is. Talk about
real,
authentic.
Yes.
Yeah, just being yourself.
Yeah.
And her speech, which did not feel like a speech, it felt like you were just talking to a friend.
Yeah.
She never looked at a note. She never missed a beat. And it was just so... It was almost like a monologue of sorts. Like it was so well delivered and from the heart.
Agreed. And I feel the same way about our conversation that we had on this podcast too. I think it's a great way for us to kick off the podcast.
Yes,
too.
of course.
Yeah, it's our first episode and she was so willing to be a part of all of the things to help us, continue conversations about mental health. And of course, that's what she's doing with Matthew Perry House too.
It is. And of course, we support addictions programming in the province of Nova Scotia through community-based programming. And we know it is a topic that we're going to be hearing more about and needing to invest more money in as we continue to deal with the opioid crisis and addictions counseling. And, it was great to have Caitlin open that conversation.
Yes.
And now it's up to us at the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia to keep it going and advance it.
Awesome. Thanks, Starr.
Okay, I'll see you next time.